year was the best. Then you get the second, then you get the third, now we're in the fourth. It doesn't get any better. George asked me, he called me in September and asked me to do this. And I told him, I don't have any material, I can't do it this year. So George tells me, you say that every year, then you come down and you do it. Just don't answer me until you come down. So now we drive down, Lorraine and I in the car. And of course, every 10 minutes, Lorraine is saying something, and every 10 minutes I'm running over to the side of the road and jotting these things down. It took about 5 days to get here, but I've got some material. Following this last night, I went through the material with Lorraine, and despite that, I still decided to come here and perform tonight. Now, Lorraine asks me, aren't I nervous when I do it? Aren't I afraid? And guys, the foolproof way to deal with your fear is to be married 39 years. You get numb. You can do anything. I also have some secret weapons here tonight. I've got 3 people who will laugh at anything, and they will laugh before I even start. And I asked Kenny to put them in different parts, different places here that I came with. So I'd like them all to stand up right now. Artie, Brett, Artie, here, where are you, Artie? Can you put a light on? Steve, can you put a light on Artie over there? And Steve Matthews, you want to on the other side? Oh my God. Ruth Hochberg. What the hell? You're supposed to spread out. Anybody who's over there, you can have a good time. Thanks a lot, Ken. Anybody drive down Route 95 coming down from north to Florida? If you do, you know there's this famous outlet called St. Augustine's. This place is freaking humongous. It's like the Grand Canyon. It's one of my greatest fears. It's so huge they run shuttle buses from part to part. It's also so huge you have to fill up your car with gas when you start on one end before you get to the other end. This is Lorraine's Disney World. Some people dream of climbing Mount Everest. Lorraine has had 2 knee replacements for the sole purpose of eventually being able to walk the St. Augustine out of the center. Now, you can't pass this by. It's like a magnet that pulls all the cars in. Lorraine sleeps half the time of going to Florida on the drive. So now she was asleep by exit 330, which is about 12 miles north of St. Augustine. And I'm praying to God she doesn't wake up. I turn around to the cats and tell them, please be quiet. Like clockwork, though, 2 miles north of St. Augustine, Lorraine wakes up. It's almost like there's a homing device in the cable that gets her up. She of course tells me she'd like to stop. She tells me she's only going to take 10 minutes to go to Coach Allen. Of course it just takes 10 minutes just to walk there. But then she comes back and she's got a coach there, and she tells me it's not really the one she wants, but it's on sale. And now I'm saying to myself, I'm pretty clear now. There's just one more possible stop, and that's Vero Beach. It's an outlet center of Vero Beach. I'm praying, and again she falls asleep. And again, 2 miles before Vero Beach, she wakes up again. Like people wake up sometime before their alarm clock. Lorraine wakes up before every outlet center. Anyway, she goes in, she exchanges that coach bag. I'm not making this up. Change that coach bag for what she likes better. All right, we finally get in. 2 weeks later, there's a package that comes, UPS, and it's 2 pairs of sandals that match the coach bag. How many of you people have had knee replacements? Raise your hand. We We use Dr. Roach, and he's a real heartthrob. This guy is about the handsomest. He projects great. Even I get excited with this guy. Lorraine comes home preheated. It's great, and I know we're going to have a wonderful night in the head. So guys, even if the wives have no knee problem, send them over to see Dr. Roach. Well worth any okay. Now, last year Lorraine had her right knee done. This year she was going to have her left knee done. So I got kind of nervous because Dr. Roach did such a good job on the right knee. How do I know he can do the left knee? He's going to get approaching it from a different angle. So I asked him, I said, are you good with left knees? His answer was, when he's in the operating room on left knees, he brings in a protege, Lefty Schwartz. And Lefty Schwartz helps him. Then I started to worry after the operation. Why don't they put a second right knee where the left knee should be? And I started worrying because I'm saying to myself, the only way I'm going to know if there are two right knees is when she starts walking, she'll be walking around. I then asked Dr. Roach, how long after surgery can it be till a person can have relations again? He asked me, is it a woman or a man I'm talking about? So I said, what's the difference? He said, well, if it's a man, it's 2 weeks. If it's a woman, it's 6 months. Holy Cross, the food there is great. It's just like the Catskills. They give you as much as you want, and it's really very good. And it got so that I wish Lorraine had a third knee. We either eat out, or take in, or bring in, or just about every day. Lorraine never cooked to me. But she was making Rosh Hashanah dinner this past September, and for days she was cooking feverishly. And I was telling her, Lorraine, you don't have to make everything, you're working so hard. We can bring some stuff in. Her answer was, I love cooking for the family. So I'm thinking, what the hell am I, just the other night I was going out to get take-home food, and she told me, be careful. And I thought to myself, I'm married 39 years. We bring in the take-home food maybe once every 3-4 days, so it's about 100 times a year. Times 39, it's about 4,000 trips I've made to feed Lorraine. And each trip may be about 5 miles round trip, so I've driven 20,000 miles to bring take-home food in. No wonder why she tells me to be careful. But if she were really concerned about me, she would just cook a damn meal. Now, my mother, Lorraine's mother, was very stout. And I know where I stood because every time Lorraine's mother went up steps, Lorraine always asked me to walk behind her just in case she fell. Every time she walked down steps, I had to walk in front of her. And I'm thinking, what the hell good is this? If she falls, she'll be fine. I want to be like a stuffed mushroom. I'm like, didn't matter Lorraine. Now, living a long life with having drawbacks. My father complains about wasting his term life insurance premiums. He had to put him on a suicide watch. My grandfather, who lived to about 95, complained that all his friends were getting the best plots at the cemetery. My grandson, who was 6 years old at the time, we were driving down to Virginia, and he noticed a car with a baby on board sign. He said, Papa, why do they have the baby on board sign? So I said, that's so everybody should be very careful driving. He said, well, aren't people careful anyway? And then he said, what if the baby is not in the car? Did they take the sign away? So then I started thinking, and I said, they have student driver signs, so you should beware of a bad driver. We have this whole controversy here in Florida about elderly people when they should have driver's license, when they should drive. I suggest what we do to clear all that up is require anybody over the age of 85 to have a sign on their back window saying, Old Fart Driver. Just want everybody to know to stay away from it. Instead of having HOV lanes, we can have SCL lanes, senior citizen lanes. All right, now listen very carefully here. I'm going to be saving you some money and saving you some storage space. First of all, I need to know how many of you people use toilet paper? Now, you have to understand, Lorraine always buys toilet. Whenever she sees a toilet paper sale, she buys loads of toilet paper. And I keep on telling her, you don't have to. They're running sales every week. We have a garage full of toilet paper. Now, one day I decided to figure out how many months of supply we had. So at the beginning of the month I counted the number of rolls, and they were about 120. And then I counted how many rolls we used during the month, and it was 12. So we have 10 months of supply. Now I know you people figure it can't be exact, because after all, how do I take into account 1 ply, 2 ply? How do I take into account people who are crumplers or folders with their toilet paper? How do I take into account people who line their toilet bowls with the paper so it's not have splashes? And how do I take into account people with bad stomachs? Even as a man, now, Lorraine gives, when we have guests over, she gives them the Charmin. In my bathroom, I got the cheap stuff, the sandpaper from the... Now, the reason I'm saying all this is because we have the warehouse. Nobody here should stockpile any toilet paper. I'm going to give you a phone number to call for emergency. 495-2753. Anytime, day and night, you have a toilet paper, call us. You're going to save, you don't need any toilet paper.
You deliver?
And Gene, I don't know if Gene's here, but the board may want to think like you did the house painting, you know, we made a sign to do some purchasing for the board to purchase for the entire community, and put it in a new tennis storage place. If we're successful, Lorraine and I, we make wrench out of the napkins. Anybody know what barberphobia is? What it is, I'll tell you. 39 years of going to barbers, getting haircuts, and coming home to Lorraine to have a duty inspection. I just got one yesterday. Not once has she been happy with her haircut. I guess she's just not happy with the face, I don't know. But anyway, last year we were at a function here, and Lorraine turns to me and says, see that guy over there, Howard Wagner? He's got the exact cut you should have. I want you to go over to Howard, and I want you to ask him where he gets his haircuts. I felt like an idiot. I walked over to Howard, I told him about something. I said, don't laugh. I said, where do you get your haircut? He laughed and said, I got it in Long Island. I happened to be up in New York last month. So now I went back to Lorraine. I figure I'm off the hook. So what does Lorraine do? She tells me, go back to Howard and take a picture. And bring it to your barber. Howard didn't know. I took a picture through the phone. I brought it to my barber. My barber took a look at it and said, that's a nice cut, but that's a New York cut. We don't do that.
I think we should stop there.
Board of Directors, I want to congratulate you guys. You've had a lot of difficult things to do, the final compensation with GL, whether or not to have kids use swimmies in the pool, the TV bar, whether to have 5 to 7 board members, the community house painting. But it was great to see you finish a 6-year project. You culminated a lot of work. We now have 2 clocks at the pool that tell the correct time. Now, I know it's difficult with daylight savings time to have to make a change. So what I suggest they do is have the 2 clocks 1 hour apart. That way, no matter where we are during the year, one of the clocks will be telling the correct time. I'll leave you people with some things I don't understand. Why do restaurants advertise home cooking? In my case, it's not an incentive. Why do people cheat on eye tests? How do people who wear contact lenses ever find them? Why aren't there any attractive people working at Walmart? Why do they want to look like prison guards? Why do people buy greeting cards? Phone calls and notes instead will do. If a card fits perfectly what you want to say, we sign it. Lorraine and I do that all the time. It's very difficult to find the perfect card for Lorraine. The perfect blend of love, hate, and begging. Very often Lorraine asks me to set the table. So I put the plates, I put the knives, forks, whatever. No matter what I do, every damn time she tells me it's wrong. I try to put the forks here, and I'm trying to figure out who is the genius that decides where you put these things. I feel left-handed. Lastly, we have boys' night out, and when we go to movies, some of the guys can't go to certain movies because they say their wives won't let them. Sometimes guys will say something like, she made me do it. What I'm trying to understand is what kind of power do these wives have over you? Do they chain you? Do they beat you? Certainly it's not a matter of withholding sex. They've been doing that for years.